He got one. He's not even built the same as Jake. I would say Jake's a little bit faster than him. He has more power, but he's slower in distributing that power. And I feel like Anthony probably took him a little bit more serious just because he's actually a bigger heavyweight with power. And I feel like he did everything.
Are you going to get anything out of that sparring that's going to help you in your fight? Maybe you are. Maybe I'm just completely diminishing Jake Paul's ability, but I'm struggling. I really am.
Fair play to Jake Paul. I mean...
And you're right, there's a bit of a conflict there because Joshua used to manage.
Jake Paul's latest transformation has stunned fans as he reveals a sharper, more powerful physique ahead of his showdown with Anthony Joshua. His frame looks tighter and more defined, showing the results of intense conditioning and a focused training camp. The new look suggests he is taking this matchup more seriously than ever, building strength and confidence as he prepares for the biggest challenge of his career. Tony Jeff breaks down the possibility of Jake Paul pulling off a shocking win against Anthony Joshua, focusing on timing, momentum, and physical development. He explains that Jake has been the more active fighter in recent years, staying busy with regular training camps and consistent bouts. That activity keeps a fighter sharp, confident, and in rhythm. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua has faced stretches of inactivity, which can slow timing, reduce readiness, and make it harder to adjust once the pressure hits. Jeff also highlights age as a factor. Jake is younger, fresher, and still improving, while Joshua is entering the later stage of his career. Additionally, Jake's physical transformation plays a significant role. His new physique shows a stronger, more committed athlete compared to earlier years. According to Jeff, these combined advantages could give Jake a surprising edge on fight night.
On the other hand, looking at his box rec, he's had 6 fights since 2023. And one of them was against Mike Tyson. But we all seen what happened in that fight. Mike Tyson was well past his prime. Where Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, is, but I'm not going to say he's coming into his prime because he had some great wins earlier on in his career before he lost to Usyk twice. And by the way, when he did lose to Usyk, the last one was a split decision. It was a pretty close fight. So now this fight is matched. And I just want to look at the tail of the tape. Now looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then, like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. Now, come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Then the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights, and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place.
Analysts take a closer look at Jake Paul sparring with heavyweights and discuss what both sides gain from these sessions. For the heavyweights, the biggest benefit is the massive payday that comes with training a high-profile name like Jake. It also gives them exposure and a chance to test their skills in a controlled environment. For Jake, working with bigger and stronger fighters shows he is taking the Anthony Joshua fight extremely seriously. These sparring rounds push his conditioning, timing, and toughness far beyond what he usually faces. Experts say the intensity of these sessions proves Jake is fully committed to preparing for the challenge ahead.
I know they're getting a lot of money to be there, and it's easy work. But what is in that for Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez, and Jared Anderson?
Easy money. I don't know how much he'll be paying sparring partners. I assume to get those calibre of sparring partners in, it's got to be big money.
Lawrence Okoli's got a fight coming up. If you're Joe Gallagher, are you go spar Jake Paul? Is that going to help you?
No, absolutely not. Are you going to get a bit of profile from it, perhaps? People are going to hear your name? Yeah. Does that help? I mean, we're going to spar with Kessler, and I got £500 pounds or euros for the week. It was the hardest money I've ever earned in my
Yeah,
life.
but how much did you learn from?
Yeah, me, bundles.
Yeah. What's a Coley learn? I don't get it.
No.
I do get it, the money. But when you got a fight coming up, I'm thinking, really? Are you going to get anything out of that sparring that's going to help you in your fight? Maybe you are. Maybe I'm just completely diminishing Jake Paul's ability, but I'm struggling. I really am.
Fair play to Jake Paul. I mean...
And you're right, there's a bit of a conflict there because Joshua used to manage him.
Yeah, it was through 258, right?
Yeah. But surely they're smashing him to pieces. Surely Jake's going, oh, what the fuck? This is fucking horrible.
Every single one of those 3 fighters there could annihilate him in a round.
Yeah, so are they not doing that?
Tyron Woodley gives a surprising breakdown when asked to compare Jake Paul with Francis Ngannou. He explains that Jake is noticeably faster than Ngannou, and that speed gives him a key advantage, especially against a heavyweight like Anthony Joshua. Woodley also mentions that Jake carries more snap in his punches than people expect, even suggesting that Jake generates slightly more power in certain shots than Ngannou because of the speed behind them. That combination of quickness and surprising force makes Woodley believe this fight will not resemble Joshua's brutal stoppage of Ngannou. Instead, he predicts Jake will push the matchup into the later rounds. Woodley believes Jake's conditioning, mobility, and willingness to take risks will keep him standing longer than anyone expects. For Woodley, the fight becomes a test of endurance, technique, and pacing, rather than a single explosive moment. He explains that Ngannou fights with huge, committed power that leaves openings, while Joshua is more structured, disciplined, and balanced. Against Ngannou, the danger is instant. Against Joshua, the threat comes from experience, patience, and the ability to break opponents down.
This Jake Paul-Anthony Joshua fight, do you think Jake has lost his mind? You know him probably as well as anyone.
I mean, Jake has been lost his mind. Like, what's new? Like, he lost his mind when he fought me. He lost his mind when he fought Anderson, when he fought Nate. He lost his mind when he wanted to fight professionally and switched over from amateur. It's really kind of been a theme. And I feel like the only person that hurt him ever was me. The only person that he lost to was somebody that actually boxed him, that actually took him serious, used the jab, moved around. And I feel like we've seen fights where Anthony didn't do that, and we've seen fights where he did. Depending on which version of Anthony Joshua comes out, depends on if Jake has what we would call a chance. When you fighting, if you got knockout power, you got belief in yourself, you got some speed, agility to move around, you always have a chance. You know what I mean? We've seen crazier things happen. Francis Ngannou is a terrible comparison to this happened to Francis. He's not even built the same as Jake. I would say Jake's a little bit faster than him. He has more power, but he's slower in distributing that power. And I feel like Anthony probably took him a little bit more serious just because he's actually a bigger heavyweight with power. And I feel like he did everything to make sure Francis didn't even get a chance to use it. So I don't have to make a prediction because I'm fighting. I'm not commentating. But, you know, I love when people doubt me. So I'm never gonna doubt somebody if they believe in themselves.
Do you think he has a chance, Jake?
I mean, people think I'm crazy, but they yelled at me when I said I thought the fight with him and Anderson was even.
Frank Smith reveals that the creation of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight was far simpler than people imagine. He says they didn't waste time worrying about critics or what the world would say. To him, this is entertainment, business, and competitive sport rolled into one. When a matchup benefits everyone involved, there's no reason to hold back. Smith explains that both fighters saw a clear opportunity. Joshua gets a massive event that keeps him active and draws huge attention, while Jake receives the biggest challenge of his career along with a major financial reward. Smith believes there is nothing wrong with making a fight that generates real interest. The sport grows when people talk, react, and debate, and this matchup does exactly that. He adds that boxing has always been driven by big personalities and bold decisions. Waiting for perfect fights often slows the sport down, while taking risks and embracing unexpected matchups pushes the industry forward. Both Joshua and Jake saw the spotlight and understood the moment. Smith emphasizes that financial success doesn't cheapen a fight, it proves the public wants it.